Well, it's out, and despite this being the first Marvel character to receive 4 solo movies, unfortunately, what should have been 4 films of character development have clearly only been 4 films of character degradation, leaving Thor stuck in a place where the years have somehow made him even more immature and less wise than the man he originally made himself out to be in his very first film, who's currently at the mercy of a director always looking for the next grade school level punchline to deliver, regardless of the situation he's in.
Human handshake. It's the Asgardian shake. Into the snake that you cannot trust. Really dragging this out and finish the classic Asgardian high one.
Kill me or release me, parasite. But do not waste my time with talk.
This green screen galore of a film starts out with the newly introduced MCU character Gore, who happens to be trapped with his daughter in the middle of a desert without any food or water. But as he prays to the god he worships to save his daughter, it's only after she dies does he discover a hidden oasis, which just so happens to be the place where the exact god he prayed to is by sheer chance hanging out in, I guess. What are the odds, eh? But after the god basically professes to Gore that him and other gods like him are nothing but a bag of dicks who laugh at the struggles mortals endure on a daily basis, it's only upon being told his prayers were meaningless, that there's no afterlife, and that the corpse coincidentally next to his god apparently tried slaying him with a god-killing sword conveniently still on the ground right next to him. Seizing the opportunity, Gore takes up the cursed blade known as the Necrosword, as it chooses him to do its bidding, killing the god he once worshipped and vowing to make every god that exists suffer the very same fate. In the meantime, it appears as though since the last time we saw Thor, he's gotten back in shape and joined up with the Guardians of the Galaxy for all of 5 minutes before giving up on them, due to his being 1,500 years of age, with the adolescent mind of a 14-year-old experiencing their first dose of puberty. But after doing some soul-searching via meditation for yet another 5 minutes or so, he helps the Guardians again one last time, before immediately abandoning them again after hearing word of Gore the God Butcher, whose natural next target is New Asgard on Earth. Which brings us right along to where Thor is reunited with Jane Foster, who's currently cosplaying as him, to cope with the fact that she's on her deathbed, due to being diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and apparently, while they were in a relationship together, Thor made Mjolnir promise to protect her by making her body too weak to fight the very cancer that's killing her, because hammer logic, I guess. So after a fight with Gore and his shadow monsters from the Necrosword, the people of New Asgard's children are abducted, with the same amount of concern and emotion to our protagonists as Tessa Thompson's face is capable of delivering. Now that they realize the strength Gore possesses, Thor, Natalie Portthor, Korg, and Tessa Thompson's face travel to Orgy Planet, a place where gods live to fuck and fuck to live. In other words, the perfect place for a god like Zeus, who wouldn't know the meaning of the word consent if it's said on his face, who's fully adorned in mighty, golden-abbed armor and a delicate short little white skirt, in need of lifting with both hands everywhere he goes apparently, because laughter takes the priority for this film.
Whoa! Fake laugh, hiding real pain.
So after Zeus and the audience examine Thor's physique, Zeus tries to keep Thor and his friends on Orgy Planet forever, so Thor reacts by sending Zeus's lightning bolt weapon through his chest and steals it so Tessa Thompson's face can actually be more useful now, considering up to this point, Korg is arguably doing more than her, simply by narrating. So to give Tessa Thompson's face more importance, the writers have her and Korg switch roles for the rest of the film, by literally reducing Korg's entire character into just a face. Not a head, literally just a face for some reason. So with the team armed with Tessa Thompson's face wielding Zeus's lightning bolt, Natalie Portthor and Mjolnir, because being attractive while dying makes her worthy it seems, and Thor himself armed with none other than Stormbreaker, they head to the place where trading cards go to die, the Shadow Realm.
Got them!
I mean, the colorless planet/moon that's smaller than a single planetary devastation mud ball used for capturing Jinchuriki, where the children of New Asgard are allegedly being held captive. But with it being a completely obvious trap, Gorr uses the fight to steal Stormbreaker from Thor, so he can then use the Bifrost to reach the center of the universe to make a wish to the being known as Eternity, who is said to grant any wish of those who get there. Like a one-time use Infinity Gauntlet basically, or a Book of Ashanti could have done from the very Marvel film released before this movie. Either way, after Gorr's arrival to the center of the universe with Stormbreaker, Tessa Thompson's face decides to sit this one out, along with Natalie Portthor as well, after her and Thor realize she'll die if she uses Mjolnir, even so much as one more time. So upon Thor's arrival, he finds the captured children while Gorr is distracted, using the Bifrost to make a tunnel to Eternity. And hoping that they can help him in some way, he decides to pull a new ability to share his powers with as many people as he wants directly out of his ass because, as expected, Christian Bale's excellent performance as a villain clearly deserves to have the final battle between him and Thor get overshadowed by a bunch of kids using their imaginations and stuffed animals to basically have fun at recess during their final fight, at the expense of the villain's more serious tone, of course, because who wants that at the end of the movie when humor is the priority? But with Thor himself coming close to falling to the Necrosword, Natalie Portthor takes the opportunity to save him, destroy the Necrosword, and die in battle from her cancer, rather than any wound of course, allowing her to gain entrance to Valhalla on a technicality apparently as a result. With Gorr having reached Eternity on foot while all of this takes place, Thor uses Talk No Jutsu on him, and instead of wishing for the death of every god, with his will now freed from the dark hold, Necrosword, he wishes for his daughter Love to come back instead. So as Gorr succumbs to the curse of the Necrosword and dies, seeing all the responsibility of raising this child being passed on to them, Natalie Portthor thinks quickly and suddenly tells the real Thor that she's gotta exit the MCU for a sec and make a quick run to the store to pick up some smokes. Being gullible as fuck, Thor says he understands, and just before leaving, Natalie Portthor volunteers real Thor to raise Gorr's daughter Love on his own. And due to Thor having always wanted a family of his own with Natalie Portthor, agrees. But as time passes in the center of the universe, Thor finally accepts that there was no pack of smokes after all, and looks back up to only see Love, whose reflection has cosmic glowing eyes, similar to the Watcher now, hinting at the vaguely defined powers she'll have in the future to either become better than him or simply replace him either before or after his character leaves the MCU. And with that, the union of Love and Thunder begins, giving the name of the film a new meaning. Oh, and Zeus is okay, everybody. Nothing to see here. Korg gets his body back, everything's cool. And despite what he said about having a mom in Ragnarok, remember that?
Oh, well, I tried to start a revolution but didn't print enough pamphlets, so hardly anyone turned up, except for my mum and her boyfriend, who I hate.
He now decides to rewrite that bit of info, to commit to some last-minute, representation agenda pushing the film clearly needed, since Tessa Thompson's face somehow failed to deliver it apparently. You see, it's these ingredients being added to a green screen, oversaturated visual mess like this film that's arguably as overstimulating as Doctor Strange's multiverse of paint that makes you think to yourself, sure, this film may have far too many digitally enhanced effects, like Thor's noticeably inferior helmet design, but damn, the double standard ass shots and Thor becoming a dad without any growth whatsoever, with each and every forgettable joke falling flat on its face at the expense of Thor as a character, What purpose does this film have exactly, outside of providing even more superhero content for an already overpopulated movie genre, made solely for jokes it seems, and all for the hell of having more content simply made for content's sake? Regardless, after having taken in a film like this compared to the rest of the MCU, despite arguably being one of the most inclusive films of diversity in the MCU, it's not exactly a good thing anymore now, is it? When the characteristic itself has become absolutely imperative to any and every MCU film released in this day and age, making every brave box checked, something that's become not only entirely predictable, but inauthentically formulaic at this point, stripping away the bravery and becoming a mandatory prerequisite that tries so hard to normalize inclusivity that it forgets to include a story about Thor that's even worth telling in the first place. Anyways, I hope you guys like this review, so feel free to comment down below and let me know what movie you'd like me to review next. Whether it's good, or whether it's a cringy, giant pair of shrieking goats competing with insecure weapons who get jealous of each other in case you forgot to laugh just once during this film, remember, I'll fucking judge.
And giant goats!
Oh, look at those! They are wonderful!
Yes, they are. They also scream quite a lot.
Kill us if you're going to. Just spare us the sound of your voice.
Come to Daddy. Hey! There you are! Hey! I was just calling you.